What's Digital Nomadism, Part 2. Dear watcher, thank you for the trust you show me and for starting watching the second episode in the series, My New Life as a Digital Nomad. The previous article ended with the completion of my master's degree in November 2021. Now I will continue in chronological order. Existential crisis. I know what I don't want to do, but December 2021 was a dichotomous month for me. On one hand, I felt relieved at the idea of having left behind the ordeal of my master's degree. On the other hand, the need to find a job, become completely financially independent, and essentially become a full-fledged man and say goodbye to my life as a boy student was becoming more and more pressing. What made the situation more complicated was that I knew what I didn't want to do, but I wasn't quite sure how to put the rest together. What I don't want to do, number one. I had studied to become an interpreter, and that was what I wanted to achieve. But if I started freelancing in Italy and built a network there, it would be like handcuffing myself. I didn't want to stay in Italy. Recently, that place had drastically declined in my eyes. At least for now, I prefer to keep my distance. What I don't want to do, number two. I never wanted to be a translator, and I never will, I used to say. The mere thought of sitting in front of a computer for 8 hours a day, maybe in a grey little room, transposing endless chains of words from one language to another. No, thank you. How sad. What I don't want to do, number three. As for where to live, the idea of moving to any other European country didn't excite me either. We're too used to the European Union. Life is good there. There's money, free movement, many languages and cultures in a relatively small place, but still, Europe is home. I had already lived in 3 European countries and not yet in any non-European country. And as I explained in the previous article, having started to listen to the heart and no longer to the head, to look at life with the eyes of the soul and not with the eyes of the ego, Europe felt increasingly small. A conviction had taken shape within me that people think Europe is so great only because they don't know the rest. The analogy I had to make that time was with the book This is Paradise, My North Korean Childhood by Hyok Kang. Sorry for the pronunciation, I'm not sure it's correct. The book tells the story of a boy, Hyok himself, who manages to escape from North Korea, but only once he's out of the country does he discover something interesting. I won't spoil it, but the title, which calls Kim Jong-un's country Paradise, might already give you a vague hint. In short, before determining whether reality is truly as idyllic as it's portrayed, I needed to see it from a different perspective, preferably from a third world country. A dialogue between myself and me. January 2022, Andrea's inner voice. So, you want to become an interpreter without freelancing, not in Europe but with a European salary, and potentially in a country where you don't speak the language. Good luck with that. January 2022, Andrea. Dear inner voice, you're absolutely right. I know everything I say and think about my future plans is confusing, but the fact is I can't find clarity. I'm not feeling well these days. I wake up in the morning, eat, send job applications to every offer that seems at least somewhat appealing, and even though I'm highly qualified for most of them, I get no response. I try to stay fit by going for runs, and while I'm doing it, I feel like a hamster on a wheel with no goals, living a monotonous and repetitive life. It's been a month now, and this situation is no longer sustainable. You know what? I'm leaving. I don't care if I don't have a job. If something comes, it comes. What I do know is that I can't stay here anymore. Thank you, voice. It was helpful to talk to you. Hugs, Andrea.